It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Hello.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello. What do I got to find this here? Let me just find what somebody wrote us today because it was actually pretty funny. What I did yesterday, I posted the I posted the picture that I talked about that I think my sister took it about 9 years ago of my father in his World War II in his World War II uniform with his grandkids and his great grandkid, and somebody wrote something just so great to us. It was just, do I have it here? I got to go back so far because there's so many things. But it was like, basically, he wrote to us. He said, 20 years from now, I'm not going to remember probably anything that you and Eric said, but I will remember exactly what your father has said. DTJ.
Yeah.
People want to be BS'd.
Yes.
And I burst out laughing because I went, well, I've certainly remembered he was telling me that at 18, so for over a half a century.
And of course, the lesson that my dad, that everybody probably remembers, the one thing that he always said which was, get out of my chair.
Archie Bunker was your father.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
You meathead.
Did he call you meathead?
Yeah.
All right. Before we get to anything.
All right. What do we got?
This is the story because it involves my congresswoman and somebody who I'll just read the story. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, go ahead.
New York Post had it. Loudmouth Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett has her feet kissed by a lefty podcaster in a cringe moment.
Wait.
The search for the soul, S-O-L-E, of the Democratic Party continues.
Oh, boy.
Failed actress turned radio podcast host Stephanie Miller. Now, Stephanie Miller, let's call her Sister Sleaze. You're saying that's terrible. How dare you call her Sister Sleaze? She called herself Sister Sleaze. I know who she is. Her brother. She's from the Buffalo area.
Okay.
Her brother ran for Congress. She was in her younger days, and I believe it was probably the late 80s. She was part of the radio team out of Rochester, Brother Wheeze and Sister Sleaze. So when I call her Sister Sleaze, she self-identified as Sister Sleaze.
So that's what they would call her, and she would call herself on the air. That was her nickname for the air?
Yeah, that was the name of the show.
Sister Sleaze.
Sister Sleaze, yes. So remember, didn't she have a show on MSNBC, I think, at one time?
Yeah,
I think she did. Yeah.
I think she did.
Failed actress turned radio host Stephanie Miller / Sister Sleaze literally groveled at the feet of Democratic Representative Jasmine Crockett, planting a big wet smooch on her sneaker and then gleefully sharing the cringeworthy interaction on social media.
Wow.
Why, yes, I did kiss the sneakers of Jasmine Crockett, and I do worship the ground she walks on.
Well,
the Stephanie...
You know, that part of that ground belongs to you. You own part of that ground that she represents and walks on.
Only by 3 blocks, and hopefully it won't be much longer.
And Stephanie Miller's worshiping.
Why, yes, I did.
Property.
I did kiss the sneakers of Jasmine Crockett, and I do worship the ground. These people are crazy. I do worship the ground she walks on.
What is it, man?
The Stephanie Miller / Sister Sleaze host wrote on X, apparently unaware how the wince-inducing genuflection came across online. Sometimes the New York Post writes.
Yeah, no, I
sometimes
have to remind myself that I'm reading the Post when I'm reading a story. Then the knucklehead decided he would pull out a knife, and I'm like, what? Oh, it's the Post.
Well, but what I like about it is the fact of at that moment I like tabloid writing.
Oh, I love their writing. I love the writing of the New York Post. I do. Look, for them and me, they sealed the deal with the laptop thing. Amanda Devine and the whole thing. It was, that was the credibility, for me that just showed okay, yeah, they're tabloidish.
Well, they have the tabloid style, but they
do the work.
Well, it's when you think about it, tabloids have changed. You even look, for example. Remember, tabloids used to be the Weekly World News,
right? Yeah,
and
right.
Maybe so, but
there was always an alien or alien-looking vampire on the cover.
But when you look, for example, at TMZ, TMZ actually has credibility in many stories that they break.
Right.
Then again, that may be due to the fact that the leftist media has just said, "Nah, we don't give a damn about the truth."
No, I mean they're more tabloid than anything.
So let me read this next sentence. A series of images shared by Miller / Sister Sleaze showed the bizarre scene played out. The lefty comedian prostrating herself before the loudmouth Texas representative, then rising to her feet and embracing Crockett, who was smiling ear to ear.
Wow.
She was lovely about it, Miller's Sister Sleaze boasted in a post viewed by more than 3.6 million people. The incident happened at an event celebrating Tuesday's passage of Proposition 50 in California. In a follow-up video, the two women stand cheek to cheek, verified the kiss wasn't just a fever dream. Jasmine, can you confirm that I just kissed your sneakers? Miller said. Miller / Sister Sleaze said as Crockett and a crowd of celebrants broke into gales of laughter.
Gales of laughter. Wow. I love it.
Gales of laughter. That's great. This is true, Crockett confirmed. Future Senator of the great state of Texas, Miller said in a nod to Crockett's ambitions for higher office.
Well, okay. Talk to Beto about that.
Yeah. Wow. Imagine if somebody ever did that. He was like, you stop that. What are you doing?
Well, first of all, I went fishing in these shoes the other day. You might want to go rinse your mouth. Yeah.
Well, there it is. It's
that's who they are. Who was it that Drew Barrymore bowed on the ground to? Who was that? I don't think it was a political figure. Was it another celebrity?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Oh.
Or maybe it was a political figure. It wasn't Kamala.
Was it Hillary?
I forget. Well, with Hillary, that's required. She won't be a guest unless you agree to do that. So that's in her rider. So, yeah. Who was it?
Dylan Mulvaney.
Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah. All right.
I was looking it up, and Eric, I think, looked at my face and said, okay, who was it? Because
wow, what happened to Dylan Mulvaney? Where is he?
Drinking a
Coors Light.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
She kneeled to the trans activist.
Yeah, I knew it was political and celebrity related, and that's why it's Well, it's where the left lives. The idolatry. Here's the thing, too, is, the rock star thing. It kind of was a rock star thing in 2008 with Barack Obama. But with the new people that are the so-called rock stars, Mamdani being the latest, and again, these people are winning elections. They're winning elections. Crockett won with what? 75% of the vote in her district? What was it?
I think it was 85.
85?
Yeah.
My gosh. There wasn't a Republican challenger in that race, to be clear.
No.
But you look at that, and they have their rock stardom, but it's not this wide euphoria that you saw with Barack Obama in 2008. In fact, Barack Obama did not endorse Mamdani. Not every prominent Democrat did. And that shows you the difference between this new era of rock stardom on the left and the old era.
Here it is. She won. This would have been District 30. 84.9% to 15.1%.
Wow. All right.
The Libertarian got 35,000 votes. She got 197,000. The reason I pause there is they show the district.
Mm-hmm.
They have a map just showing the 30th district.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like a blue line in middle of the district, and then way off to the west, it looks like right where I live, there's another blue dot, as if they said, oh, let's put that blue dot to represent where McNamara lives in Jasmine Crockett's district. That's how I took it right there. I'm looking going, oh, my God, that blue dot is...
it's right on
blue
your
dot
house.
is exactly, it looks like it's almost at my house.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's really just stab him with the knife and then twist.
Yeah, but this phase of the rock stardom doesn't go very far, especially with Mamdani, because even his ideas, even the people that voted for him, that were going to vote for him in a couple of different polls ahead of that election, said, yeah, we don't believe those ideas are going to work. We're going to vote for him purely on rock stardom, which, by the way, is different, is also dangerous. And it's something that the right needs to be, aware of. I think that they need to be focused. They're going to have to focus on some things, some real things. We've talked about that lately, but the fact of the matter is, this is what happens with the left. This is what happens when you get to a point, too, of being desperate for young voters. And they were. Remember the whole thing with David Hogg? People under 30 and 24 weren't voting our way. Well, 75% in that age group of voters in New York City voted for Mamdani. So, at least in New York City, they're back. We'll see what happens at the midterm and then beyond in 28. But those are the new rock stars, and everybody pucker up on the left. Kiss some feet. Let's go.
When I saw that story yesterday,
just weird.
And it wasn't as widely covered as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
When I first saw it.
I didn't see it.
Because
I don't know how I didn't see it.
I saw it on X.
Yeah.
And then I saw it in the New York Post.
I don't know how I didn't see it in the Post.
And
I get all the notifications from the Post.
And I went to myself, maybe they didn't throw it out as like a notification.
I don't know.
To me, it is such a microcosm of where Democrats are today. I mean, really, that story coming out yesterday, I thought was perfect.
Yeah.
Number one, I went, boy, am I going to have fun with this on the air. because I know who Stephanie Miller is from way, way back. And by the way, it's not jealousy that I brought her up and referred to her sister Sleaze. When I first got into radio, I applied for a morning show job at WLVL in Lockport, New York. So did she. It was a small 1,000-watt station. She got the job. I did not.
Were they going to call you Brother Sleaze?
No. This was that was Lockport, New York, which is
okay, different job.
Which is north of Buffalo. Rochester is.
Can you imagine if you went to a station? Hey, your nickname on the air is going to be Brother Sleaze.
Might have helped my reputation in getting chicks.
Well, there's that.
I mean,
your dating game would have been through the roof.
Wait a minute. Back in the 70s.
Well, yeah. Today, it's more like you.
I know, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was her name. So I just went, wow, this is going to be. That's, by the way, I only brought up that story for my personal enjoyment. I hoped everybody else enjoyed it.
Well, we've gotten in Kissing Feet and Sister Sleaze in one segment. That's just one segment.
And DTJ and...
Where else? Where else? Nowhere else but Red Eye Radio.
Only here on Red Eye Radio.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller. At a roadside inspection, inspectors may ask to see supporting documents. The document generated or received by a motor carrier in the normal course of business that can be used by law enforcement to verify a driver's logs. These documents can include bills of lading, itineraries, schedules, or equivalent documents that indicate the origin and destination of each trip. They can also include dispatch or trip records, expense receipts related to on-duty/not driving periods, electronic mobile communication transmitted through a fleet management system, and payroll records, settlement sheets, or equivalent documents that indicate payment to a driver. Drivers using paper logs must also keep toll receipts. Supporting documents must contain the driver's name, carrier-assigned identification number, or vehicle unit number that can be linked to the driver, the date, the name of the nearest city, town, or village, and the time. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We're Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You know, I don't care whether it was The View or just X or wherever you went. I mean, Democrats so incredibly furious that the government's going to reopen again really is pretty amazing that they don't recognize where they were just a couple of days ago talking about it was the Republicans that shut it down to just being furious that the government is now open because 8 Democrats crossed the line.
Yeah,
it just is really again, no type of self-awareness at all. None.
Nope. It's, I don't know where their party goes. We know who's leading the party, but the rank and file are still kind of all over the place. And if you look at who's leading the party, they're making the noise on the national level, but are they motivating people on the national level? Is the question. Sometimes somebody in a district can be very influential far outside their district and state with their party. And the question is that happening? Is that a main driver? Are these new, younger Democrats that are taking the party, taking the reins now, are they actually motivating people, or are they turning people off, or is it neutral?
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
We are Rhode Island Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Just so you know the time schedule, they will start voting on stuff at 4 p.m. this afternoon.
Okay, all right.
So, and probably will go on until it gets passed. I know the Democrats want to try certain amendments, whatever, to try to get in there. But they say, they hopefully will get it sometime tonight is when the vote will come in. And every day that goes by, it's tick, tick, tick towards Thanksgiving.
Well,
Duffy came out and said, if they don't get this thing done, they officially done, it's going to be a horrible. It'll be 10% this weekend. Wow, 10%. I'm thinking, as soon as I say 10%, I flash back to Joe Biden. 10% for the big guy.
Yeah. We're looking at 2 weeks from tomorrow, and flying starts probably that Monday or Tuesday. 2 weeks from today being the real big day.
Probably I would say Thanksgiving goes from next Friday.
Sure.
Next Friday all the way through to the next to the Monday
a lot of people have the entire week off. Yeah. So you don't want that. You want to get this thing done and behind you. Also, SCOTUS coming in and continuing that stay, allowing the president to hit the brakes on SNAP payments, but that only goes through Thursday night at midnight. So that sounded like, you guys get this done. We don't want to have to act big on this and in some big way, but we'll give you a little more time on this because it looks like it's going to get done. So I would expect that the House stays until it's done. So, did you hear anything more on the hemp thing?
No, just that the I think it was thehill.com had a story on it that was saying that the hemp industry was caught completely off guard by this one.
I think everybody was.
They were caught completely.
I think everybody was.
And they said they're stating it'll shut down. And again, it's a business and it has been a legal business, but they say a $30 billion hit.
I don't see how it doesn't shut down the entire hemp industry. Mitch McConnell's saying, we wanted to get in and close the loophole, but also protect the hemp farmers. Well, you're not protecting the hemp farmers.
You're not, no.
If there's no industry, there's no reason to grow.
Right. As you said to me off the air yesterday, Woody Harrelson aside, nobody is clamoring for hemp rope.
Exactly. Nobody's wearing hemp clothing. It's not a driver.
Right.
If you're doing it, you probably don't know you're even wearing hemp clothing. That has been the driver. Say what you will about the loophole and everything else. And the loophole was interesting because that is aggregate weight versus the entire the overall THC content. And that was the loophole. The aggregate weight, if you concentrated it down and synthesized it, you could get that down to make it lawful, except the problem was it was a concentrated version of that, and by aggregate weight, you're okay, but you still had an effective amount of THC in the product. I have said all along on legalization, and this isn't, this is really, I think, different on the legalization, but it has a similarity in that the edibles and other consumables were always, in my mind, going to be the problem. And the concentration of that THC at levels of, remember when the cookies first came out and it was reported that one dosage was an eighth of a cookie. And I said, well, nobody eats an eighth of a cookie.
Yeah.
And I know you're not eating it as a cookie, but that's not, the point is that if you get it to that, you're going to have many people who have no idea what they're doing, get into real trouble, And that's going to hurt legalization. That's going to bring back prohibition in a big way. I was for legalization. The problem with the industry, though, is that you start creating these niche products because they wanted to make it more portable. Also, all right, we don't necessarily want to smoke it. We don't want to do all of these things, and so we want to fit into the sensibilities of the younger generation that doesn't want to put smoke in their lungs or consume it in any other way. And so edibles really came in big time. Back in our day, when you talked about pot and brownies, that was kind of a joke. You know, people did it, but most people smoked it, and it wasn't legal. Well, when the industry came in, they started concentrating it and concentrating it and concentrating it, and that made it very difficult to follow in terms of the overall THC content.
You know, this wasn't talked about for, why they inserted it back into the CR, what pushed them to do it.
Right, yeah.
I really wonder, because you and I covered it about a month and a half ago, the number of fatal automobile accidents
in that one county,
where pot was involved in that one county was mind-boggling.
It was unreal.
And I really wonder, because that's what every time, something is legalized, it's like, okay, what's the damage? And I know it's only one county, but if you extrapolate that out, that would be unacceptable to the population.
Yes.
And unacceptable to the politicians.
Right.
I don't know how the population would view that, because we do accept automobile deaths.
Yes, we do.
We do accept that alcohol must stay around, even though half of auto accidents is because of it, which means we accept those deaths. We don't like them.
Well, during COVID, on alcohol, we were closing schools and we were leaving liquor stores open. And then beyond that, some states were legalizing liquor to go that didn't have it before.
Yeah.
And delivery and everything else. So, we go beyond that to get our fix.
So politicians are more reactionary. You know what I just thought of? Whatever happened, we're in 2025.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the law passed during the Biden administration
on the cars,
where they were going to have the monitors? That story disappeared. Remember that story where they were going to have the monitors in your car that could detect whether you were intoxicated, tired, and the cameras.
It was going to be mandated.
It would be
for cars built 2026 and beyond, right?
For 2026, which means now.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back a couple of years ago. We brought it up. That just popped into my head. Whatever happened to that? Now, I think if they would have moved forward and said, because they were looking for a system that could be standardized.
Right. Yeah.
And I had never heard about that. I'll look that up here during the next break.
Right.
But whatever, I just popped into my head now, because politicians will we need to stop, the DUI. So we're going to monitor everybody in their vehicle, cameras, face monitors, that will be able to, face detection if, you're drunk and your face is drooping a little bit or whatever, or your eyes, it'll scan your eyes, it'll do all this.
Right.
And you and I went, I don't know if the public's ready for that one.
Yeah.
And then nothing. And I've never heard that law was reversed. Did you? I know Republicans were trying to get it reversed.
Right.
I don't ever remember that they did that, but that would be with, the 26 models are out now.
Right.
You would know about it. People would be talking about it. It would be an issue.
Yep.
Unless, they're all high and don't care.
Could be. Nobody's drinking anymore. They're all doing THC. One of the things, too, about the whole hemp thing is that you're basically, for some states, bringing back full prohibition which brings on what? The desire to go find it
The cartel,
in the black
yeah.
market on the street. And with fentanyl and everything else and the risks there, that has to be a huge concern. It does. Look, again, I'm a proponent of legalization, but the problem has always been that Jerry Brown said this as governor of California when he was signing legalization into law. Listen, not everybody can be high. We need some people to be productive. He actually said that.
I'll never forget that.
And just because it's legal doesn't mean it's a good thing to do all the time. And and there's no way of monitoring unless you're doing blood tests for people every day, because you can't smell it. You can't detect it. And just because somebody's acting weird, well, I act weird, but I'm not high. So there's no way really to detect it until maybe it's too late, and that's always a problem. But rolling back an industry like this always comes with some kind of pushback. While many people will say, okay, no, if it's not legal, I don't want to buy it on the street, some will buy it on the street.
Yeah, you make a great point, because maybe just because something is legal, it might not be a great idea, to go to Nevada, find a prostitute, gamble, get high, and drink.
Which are all legal.
Exactly.
Wow.
Might not be the best idea.
So this hour so far, kissing feet, Sister Sleaze, weed, gambling,
wheeze,
prostitution. That's your Red Eye Radio. Hey, guys, would y'all just clip that into a promo and send it out to all the affiliates? Thank you. There you go. Appreciate that.
What's that Red Eye show about?
Huh?
Sleaze.
There it is.
Sleaze and weed.
Yes. Full hour almost.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. To wrap up everything, well, not wrap up, but just look at what's happened over the last couple of days, where where a deal was done, but the Democrats are furious and they want Schumer out and all this, and it's all about the fact that they look at it and they want the socialists in there. Mondani had the win, and now they believe that they can convince the American public that socialism, Marxism will work to lower prices.
Yeah.
That seems to be the philosophy that they're on right now. It really is.
Yeah,
that seems to be where they're headed. We talked about it yesterday. This whole thing about health care with the Democrats is all bogus. They don't care about health care. They care about control. How do we know? They had an opportunity in the real liberal states of New York, California, Colorado, not New York, Vermont, Colorado, and California to bring in government-run health care. It failed everywhere because nobody wanted to pay for it. Democrats only want, this whole thing is about Democrats wanting their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren through more debt to pay for health care. But they don't want to pay for it.
No.
So spare me this, we care, because they don't.
Look, if the Democrats ever get enough power, if they ever get a solid majority in the Senate and the House and get the White House back, God help us. The spending will be unbelievably outrageous. Because I think the next time around, if that happens, the next time around, they're not going to wait. It's just going to be full on. They're going to realize we should have done, because this is what they'll say. We should have done the Green New Deal when we had a chance. Let's do it now.
Yeah.
Because nobody cares about the debt, with the exception of a few of us fiscal conservatives still left in this country.
The public doesn't care about the debt.
Exactly.
The public doesn't care.
Nobody cares about the debt. And we're not going to get much pushback. We're going to be the heroes. So this is from their point of view. Let's quit being stupid about it and just spend to no end.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, since we mentioned the Jasmine Crockett feet kissing, thing from yesterday, I just happened to see this on X.
Yeah?
Gosh, what an idiot. Here she is. Because now the Democrats are saying, and this is because of the Mamdani victory, she can win. She can be the next senator from the state of Texas. All right, listen to this. Here we go. All right.
One of the reasons people haven't been flying planes into buildings in the United States is because of our soft power. It's because of the diplomacy that we were doing, where we were building relationships where people would look at us and say the Americans are good people.
She talking about Trump? He's the one working all the deals.
No, that's not what she's saying at all.
Of course it isn't. It was a joke.
Yeah. And because it's not soft power.
No.
That Trump is using.
No, it isn't.
But I mean, it just shows that Islamic radicals looked at the Biden administration and said, wow, we aren't going to fly planes into buildings anymore because these are nice people.
Mm-hmm.
Where the opposite happened.
Mm-hmm.
Biden did what? He enabled Islamic radicalism. He ensured that Iran had money to fund Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. And we saw what happened on October 7th because of all that.
Yep.
But she is totally and completely clueless about what's going on in the world. Completely. Oh, they like us. And if we get these Islamic radicals to like us, well, then they'll treat us okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. No, remember when, was it a group in California that was saying, look, we need to not attack our enemy because we don't want them attacking us here. We don't want to, and there was something they were going to build out in California, and they said, well, we don't want basically the terrorists to believe that we're a good target. Liberals have always had this attitude that if you close your eyes, the bad guys will go away. That if you just go along to get along, that means there won't be a problem and they won't come after you. That if you show your weakness over and over again, then it shows that you're being nice to them and they just want people to be nice to them.
Yeah.
This is how the world becomes dangerous.
Ignorance is bliss, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, it's very dangerous.
In this setting, you can't, and as you rightly point out, peace through strength so far has been successful for Donald Trump. He's demonstrated, not just in this term, I think very well in the second term, but also in his first term, that you have to be strong, but you also don't have to go to full-on war. You can be very precise in your actions and get the results you need and bring everybody to the table.
Well, to be blunt about it, what he has let them know is, as after Soleimani, we'll kill your leaders.
Yep.
When you look at what happened, in Iran, those leaders were hiding. How many generals did he kill?
Right.
How many scientists did he kill?
Right.
We'll kill the people that are responsible. We'll kill your generals. We'll kill you if we get an opportunity to do it. We'll kill your scientists.
Yep.
That was the message. People don't like to hear that because they're like, oh, no, we just took out the infrastructure. No, they took out the people that built that nuclear infrastructure.
Yep.
It is, the real world is, it is about killing people. And the only thing that Islamic radicalism understands, especially the leaders, because as history has shown us, they want the young people who will play their suckers to die, and they'll find young people willing to die, young men and women willing to die. They're not willing to die.
No, it's always been a recruiting. That was the recruiting effort going way, 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 way back. After the Russians were done with Afghanistan, or done in Afghanistan, and Osama bin Laden, they basically, and back then they weren't doing it through the internet, but sending out these flyers and promising all these young people this, and you'll get this, and you'll get this, and you'll be a martyr. And they weren't martyrs. They didn't want to be martyrs. No, they found him in Pakistan in a room full of porn.
Yeah.
The 19 hijackers, some of them in the night before and the days before 9/11, were at strip clubs.
Yeah, as I've suggested to the FBI, if you want to find potential terrorists, especially Islamic radicalist terrorists, go to the strip clubs.
Right.
It's where they seem to be hanging out.
Right.
As I've said, those leaders have experienced more Western vice than I have.
Right. And they're always on the exactly. Well, not saying a lot, but they're maybe not a good comparison. They don't themselves believe in martyrdom. They don't believe
what they're selling.
In what they're selling. They don't believe anything that they use in the recruiting, in their entire recruiting effort, because it has always been propaganda in order to get others out there to fight their war for them.
It's about what it's always been: power and control.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep.
It's simple.
Yep.
You don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure this one out.
Nope.
And again, if you're a rocket scientist in Iran,
I was going to say.
I just thought. But yeah, I mean that's the reality of it. It's the only thing that they understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand anything else.
Right.
Anything else they view as weakness.
Yeah. I love the word soft. She uses soft. By the way, she said it out loud. It's weak. It's the wrong word, but at least they say it out loud. We need to be soft on them. Soft on everything. Soft on criminals. Why put them in jail?
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, it goes across the board.
It does.
The criminals are enemies.
Yes.
No. They're just misunderstood.
Right.
You're the problem. This is an oppressive society, and they view us as an That's a load of horse manure, as we all know. One thing, and I've just, the last couple of years I've noticed it, but it really, whether it's Jasmine Crockett, I know she's in her 40s, but when it comes to intelligence and knowledge, she's like an elementary school student.
Yeah.
but so is AOC.
Yeah.
And so is David Hogg. I mean, these people are not, they're young.
Right.
They're young. They don't understand how the world works. Most of liberalism refuses to look at how the world works. They refuse to look at, they have no idea how economics works. They don't really want to know, the enemies that we face and the ideology that they hold. But I was the other day when I saw Scott Jennings, and he's even young compared to me, but he's actually
pretty much everybody is.
He's actually debating with Michael Douglas's 25-year-old son on CNN, who has a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And being that I've been through every one of these arguments over the years that have failed, to see them being reborn again, to see that ignorance and stupidity has become something that is attractive and is being sold by clueless young people to other clueless young people, knowing that it's all going to fail miserably. It's tough to take hearing the BS.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is.
The complete BS, the cluelessness of these people. It is, as I said the other day, and I go back, I forgot what movie it was. That there was some movie that said, well, maybe God isn't a supreme being. Maybe God's just somebody who is so dang old that he's figured out everything. And so, but when you see it being repeated, that's how I feel at times. I've seen it all. There are no new when we hear this now. I mean, you and I talked about the other day. Mamdani, well, I like it because he has new ideas. There's not one damn new idea that he has. None.
Nope.
Zero.
Nope.
Doesn't exist. There are no new ideas.
No.
They've all been tried.
We've been here before.
Yeah.
We've been here before.
Been here, done this, but to watch it but then realizing that even the media, the mainstream media, they're in their 30s, they're in their 20s.
Mm-hmm.
They're completely clueless as to how the world works.
Yep.
And you see it, and it's frustrating, I think, as you get older, and just naturally you've seen how the world works. It's not that you have a great deal of intelligence. It's just you know how to connect the dots, and you have a memory.
Yeah.
And you see what works and doesn't work.
Right.
And these young people are out, these young liberals are out there selling complete horse manure. And the young people are buying, give me more horse manure. Well, okay, give me more bull manure.
Right.
More, please give me more. I want more BS. Please give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. It's frustrating to see it, especially so recently after we saw it with somebody like Obama.
Yeah. It really is. But, that's why I made the comparison on a similar topic last week. I was saying, well, we go back to 2008. But if you go back to 2008, you're talking about, enough time for a new generation. Those people, the people we're talking about now between 20 and 30 were kids then. They weren't paying attention. So, again, it is generational. We go through this rock star socialism, communism thing more and more. And, the difference is fewer people care about the national debt than they did in 2008. They don't care about the spending. The anti-Semitism, when we talk about the big picture and everything that's involved here, the anti-Semitism on the left that was on full display it gets you to a point of a Crockett saying what she said about the enemy because, my gosh, if you're an anti-Semite, then you're pro-Hamas. We've talked about that. And, in fact, during that whole thing since October 7th, we've mentioned, and I said, if there's another attack on U.S. soil by terrorists, the left will cheer. This is a different age than we were in even in 2001. And it's not just terrorists. The shooter, Brian Thompson's shooter, hailed as a hero.
Yep.
The assassination of Charlie Kirk
Yeah.
was applauded by some on the left.
Yep.
This is how it becomes dangerous very, very quickly. And we need to be soft on the enemy, as if to say they're our friend.
Right. No, it's our fault.
And it's our fault.
Right. It's our fault.
Yes.
It's not their fault.
Right. Remember, we were
No.
protesting for them. Our side is protesting for them.
Right. We're wrong. They're right.
That's right.
And
Wow.
it's and the philosophy that they have is completely against what liberals claim they're for.
Yep.
That's the fascinating thing. It makes no sense. We are Red Eye Radio.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Power goes out at your residence, whether from a faulty power line or natural disaster. What food safety considerations should you keep in mind? USDA food safety expert Meredith Carruthers says in the event of a power outage,
usually we say on average, a refrigerator that has no power is going to keep a safe temperature for about 4 hours.
that safe temperature being below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. As for the freezer,
It's going to maintain that cold temperature and keep that food at a safe temperature for about 24 hours if it's half full and 48 hours if it's full.
once these appliances reach past their safe temperature point, discard any perishable food items. Food safety resources are available through USDA's Meat and Poultry Hotline, 1-888-MP Hotline. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly. I'm Gary McNamara. Okay, we just got to play this audio. We got to play this.
All right.
Kamala, that in her campaign, she was playing three-dimensional chess.
I'm sorry.
It's-
What?
I'm listening to this yesterday, and I'm thinking and watching it and thinking to myself, she's making it sound like she won.
Yeah.
She, in her mind, might think she's president. Here it is. Here we
All
go.
right.
I was aware of my opponent's strategies, and I wasn't about to fall prey or fall into those traps. And part of his strategy and those around him was to try and take me off our game and message. And I wasn't about to be distracted by those flames that he was trying to throw to get me away from my highest priority, which was talking to people about the economy and their well-being in terms of their financial well-being. And I understood the game that was being played, and I made a decision that I wasn't going to get played. And
chess, not checkers. Got it. Chess, not checkers.
yeah, three-dimensional chess, I'm telling you.
What?
She's playing three-dimensional chess.
Yeah.
You lost!
Wow. If she could accomplish one-dimensional checkers, I'd be amazed. First of all, what game are you talking about? Off your game? He was trying to get me off my game. He was trying. What? You didn't have any message. You didn't have a mission statement like a real campaign.
Well, remember, day one. It was like, 2-3 days after she announced the commercial was out there that Donald Trump wasn't tough enough on the border, and she'd build a wall and she'd be tougher on the border than Trump.
Yeah.
We must have played that. We must have played that every single break.
Yeah.
And we're dying laughing, going, she actually thinks people are going to buy into this?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was your strategy? He's not going to knock me off my game. Everybody knew that was a lie, and you only put that out because of Trump. Wow. Just amazing.
Catch Red Eye Radio live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara, and just sitting back thinking about everything that happened in the last week. Democrats screaming, Republicans are keeping the government shut down. Republicans are keeping the government shut down. We want the government reopened. We want the government reopened. 8 Democrats cross the line, and the government is going to reopen, and Democrats are screaming that the government should have remained closed.
Right.
I'm sorry, but that's just, it's hilarious.
We've talked about, we use these words a lot, the lack of self-awareness. How do you not have any critical thinking skills, at least to the extent of thinking out the next day or two?
Rage.
Yeah, it's emotion. Yeah. Everything is, you're so driven by that. I really think, to a large extent, TDS at different levels is at the basis of that, of course, because you're taking on Trump in whatever you're doing. So if you oppose it, if it's Trump, that's for it, and the GOP that's for it, then you're opposing it, and it's TDS, that TDS bug is working in the brain. But it's also who the left has become, that rage. And they, again, have always ruled with emotion. And rage is a big part of that.
This, I just got to play this. This was going viral. I don't even know who this guy is. He was on TikTok. He's some liberal out there. Okay. And he's got a sport jacket on and, a white shirt, no tie. But his eyes, he looks like, did you ever, and this goes way, way back to, my gosh, the old WKRP. Remember when Dr. Johnny Fever did the live broadcast at the stereo shop? It's where Bucky the engineer, the guy starts screaming at him, and he goes, take it up with my union. And he goes, I don't want any trouble with it. He goes, talk to my union. And it would told him the number, the what the union was. He goes, oh, I don't want any trouble with that. But it's where the guy talks so fast, Dr. Johnny Fever looks at him and he says, speed kills, Del. That's exactly what I was thinking when I'm watching this guy. His eyes are so incredibly wide open, and he's just livid. And this went viral. I don't even know who the guy is. But tell me if this is not a perfect representation of where the Democratic Party is right now. Okay, here we go.
The capitulation of a few Senate Democrats is as backstabbing a betrayal as we will ever need to unite as a true Democratic Party and dismantle the leadership that put us in this position. Mom Donnie has shown us the way. It is time to end the era of the feckless Democrat, too scared to unify the party and stand up to Donald Trump, to stand up to lawlessness, and in this case, to fight for Americans.
And there's more. He just rages. And you got to see his face.
Yeah.
It's contorted. His eyes are just like, I kept saying, speed kills, Del. Speed kills, Del.
Yeah.
Because he's just so livid. It's almost, I won't use that, but it's almost like drunk rage.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That makes no sense. Or let's go back. It's like I was 20 years ago when I couldn't hit a ball with a stick properly on the golf course.
No.
That kind of rage that I felt at that time where you couldn't even talk to me.
Yeah.
But mine was over something that was important and truthful. I sucked.
True.
So
that's true.
But there's where it is right there. Mamdani, they want, and I really believe it's because Mamdani won, and they believe now that the entire Democrat Party, because you're not even hearing, this is another change. A week ago, it was, no. I mean, the Mamdani, that's just for New York City. It's just for New York City. That's now for New York City. He now has become the standard bearer for all the young Democrats. I believe the majority of the Democratic Party now saying he's won in New York City. He's shown us the way. Communism is the way. Communism is the way to defeat lawlessness.
Well, and we mentioned that. We've mentioned it again that there are people in the party on both sides. This applies to both parties that can influence people outside of their jurisdiction. In this case, New York City. It happens all the time. Jasmine Crockett is getting her feet kissed by somebody who doesn't even live in their district. So, if you look at it again, the question would be, are they driving, is this particular set of Democrats, the young communist-level Democrats right now in office, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Mamdani, sorry, Chuck, are they enough to drive the entire party? Now, what the party wants is the young voters. And you don't get the young voters without these radicals. But you also don't win the big national elections. You're not going to win the White House without getting independents. You're going to have to motivate people in big ways. And the question is, does this do that?
Well, if you want to look at it, Chuck Schumer, and I've heard all this, let's just do the overview of it. Chuck Schumer is as radical as anyone. And I say that because of the Green New Deal. Mm-hmm. We don't live in a bubble here on this radio show. We look at what they've done in the past. When you see what they had in the Green New Deal, that was as communist as you could get.
Yep.
That was as Marxist as you can get, what they wish to do with the Green New Deal that AOC came up with. An idiot. She's an idiot. They're completely and totally clueless about how economics works. They don't care.
Nope.
And that's the difference. Even a Pelosi and a Schumer would look at it and say, all right, we just can't go that far.
Right. Well,
we want to go that far, but we can't. That's the only difference. The difference is not ideological in the Democratic Party. It's not that Schumer is just kind of, I saw, well, I'll find it here. I think it was Dean Phillips. Dean Phillips was, talking about it. And I think he got part of it right, but the other party got, because they're talking about the fact that, well, it's the moderates against the socialists. No, it's the socialists that are the socialist, Marxist, communists that are so enraged. They are so emotional. They just view the win by Mamdani, and they're like, that's who we have to model our national campaign for. And Schumer isn't willing to do it. Jeffries isn't willing to do it. So get rid of them all. Yeah, but you won't get elected. Yeah, you will, because Mamdani won in New York City. And he won big. Yeah, but New York City isn't the rest of the country. We'll make it the rest of the country.
That's what I think that's what's going on here with to a large extent. I think that they so want this to be the movement. You know, they've been so desperate for a big, big win. Even Biden becoming president wasn't a big win for their party. In fact, ultimately, it was horrible. And they're looking for that next surge, that next thing, and also, of course, for it to be a victory, a real political victory over Trump. And it's not there.
Well,
I really think it is isolated at this point. Only time will tell. But you have to motivate the entire base nationally. And you also have to get other people on board, not just your radical left base of your party.
Yeah, but the radical left base is becoming the base of the Democratic Party.
No, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
But you've got to go outside of that. You've
Oh,
got to,
I know
in
you
order
do, right.
to win the White House,
But-
you're going to have to win independence.
But look at, for example, when we just played Kamala Harris, talking about how she was playing three-dimensional chess.
Mm-hmm.
You think of Jasmine Crockett and AOC, a Mandami, anybody who supports him, wants to hear? I guarantee, as cringeworthy as that was for us listening to her, it was more cringeworthy for Democrats.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want her.
Yeah.
They don't want her out there saying, in these generic, they want her saying, defund the police. You saw. Did you see that? What's it? That Jamel Bowman they're considering? The guy who pulled the fire alarm.
Yeah.
Has put his hat into the ring for Mandami to pick him as superintendent of schools.
Yeah.
Because he has said, I'll make them as radicalized as I possibly
Right.
can.
Oh, yeah.
They want to make the guy who pulled the fire alarm as the head of schools in New York City.
Well,
You
they're
saw-
going to have regular fire drills, I guess.
Well, you saw the other guy, one of the guys who came up with the whole concept of defund the police. They want, he's going to be part of the government.
Yeah. Right.
For Mandami. So
Right.
you think they want somebody, they don't want a Kamala Harris
No.
or a Chuck Schumer going, or, that was, by the way, Schumer. Or Kamala Harris. Well, this and I did. They want her up there saying, I want to defund the police.
Yeah.
I want schools to teach critical race theory. I want I want us to live by identity politics. I want us to support Hamas. I want to tax the rich. I want to tax everybody. And I think this is going to be, it's going to be a tough run for Hochul in New York City.
Yeah.
They're going to turn against her.
No, I think so.
She's talking like a conservative would. We played that last week. That could be in contention for an audio cut of the year.
Well, because it could mark the beginning of the end for her support from her own party within her state.
Because she said, we can't afford to tax the rich. She made the statement. Governor Hochul made the argument that we've taxed the rich too much in New York State. You're making that argument against Mamdani, and you see how Chuck Schumer's being. Schumer's got to be going, I can't win no matter what I do. If I actually cook the burger or don't cook the burger, it really doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
He's probably going, what? They don't care. They want you to be an upfront communist, Marxist, socialist right now. They don't want any wishy-washiness. They don't care. They don't care if people get hurt with the shutdown. They don't care. All they want, they view keeping Obamacare and just loading it with subsidies as them having more power and control.
Yep.
And as socialists / communists, They want more power and control. They want more control over the means of production and capital. It's that easy.
Yep.
This isn't hard stuff.
Nope. But by the way, in the House, they did vote. It's about an hour and a half ago. They voted. The committee it passed the committee, which goes on to the broad vote to end the shutdown. So that happened along party lines, of course. And then I guess they'll work during the day on Wednesday. Later today, as you mentioned, they'll vote. The big vote happens in the House to end the shutdown.
We are Red Eye Radio.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, you see that both sides now, we've talked about this. They're trying to do everything they possibly can now, coming up with ideas to reduce prices by having government subsidies or tax rebates or whatever. Trump with his $2,000, bringing up the 50-year mortgage. Democrats, have come up with, I think, the best plan. Did you see that one? $200 off, $200 extra money for all Social Security recipients for 6 months.
You have to be behind that plan.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Democrats.
And that's even on top of the COLA, the cost of living allowance for 26.
I don't think it'll pass.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.